I attribute a long marriage to, first of all, devoting your life to Christ. He has to be the center of your marriage at all times. And He has guided us each and every day.
I think marriage is a compromise. It's also a test of patience. When the going gets rough, I know He's gotten me through illness, and I've gotten Him through illness, and I think that's a part of it.
And I do believe that the church is one attribute in our lives that's kept us close together, kept us strong, and kept us devoted to one another.
I think shared interest also plays an important part in staying together for a long time. One thing that makes a lasting marriage is forgiveness. You know, if he says a cross word, I've got to forgive it, but I also have to forget it. And I think that comes hard sometimes, but it gets easier. I know the older I've gotten, forgiveness and forgiveness, I think, are important.
The man does have to take a leading role and have a responsibility to keep the family strong and also make those decisions that he feels like is best for the family.
That's right.
Because that's the way God has set up the family. That's the way He set up the church. I think probably one other contributing factor to a long marriage is heritage. My mother and father were married for some over 50 years, 55 years. My grandmother and grandfather were married some 60 years. My great-grandmother and grandfather were married quite a long time, some 50 years. So we can look back in my past and see how marriages have made a difference.
Our marriage has survived almost 60 years because of commitment. We made a long-term commitment in 1953, and because we believe in commitment and preserving a family, I think that's what's preserved our marriage, that and we care about each other.
Well, I think it's a lot of adjustment. She was pretty sure she was going to be home here for another year and a half while I went to Korea, but that didn't happen because the Koreans quit and we stayed in the United States. And she had to get used to a bunch of things, military life. 4 weeks after we got there, we lost a member of my class, lost it one night flying, and
we've been through richer, poorer, sickness,
right,
health,
right,
better, worse, and survived it all.
Yeah. I think that pretty well sums it up.
Talk about all of them. I think maybe the main ones would be love and commitment. We were in love when we got married, and we're still in love. And as far as commitment goes, divorce was not an option, and so the word divorce was never mentioned.
Jerry and I had only known each other 4 months before we got married. We met in September. He gave me an engagement ring in December. But it didn't take us long to realize we did have some differences, and some of them were big differences. Most of them we could work through, but I think along with our commitment to each other, our commitment to God, and through a lot of prayer, we've been together 45 years, and so, you know, my suggestion to anyone who wants a good marriage is to commit yourself to each other. Don't leave God out. Commit yourself to Him and bathe it in prayer.
Well, I suppose first off, the fact that both of us knew Christ as our Savior. And He's been one of the primary reasons for us staying together this long. Marriage to me, of course, I've only been married once, and that's all I hope to have to be married. But there's a lot of give and take, a lot of adjustments from single life to married life. And you have to learn really as you go along. I don't think anyone would write a book to give us all the information that we need. It's got to be a personal experience, and that's what we've had. Make adjustments as we go. And of course, the factor is that if you love one another, you can really do a better job of marriage than you can if you're just a puppy love, so to speak. It's got to be sincere.
Well, I went into this with the lifetime of knowing that it's going to be for the rest of my life, not just, just a few years, but for a lifetime.
This young lady here has been the primary glue in our marriage. So I commend her for being one of the main reasons that we've remained together this long.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are.
Okay, but that's not even close to what I think.
I wanted to say,
Okay.
No,
let's
don't.
go, yeah, I've got just a little bit.
Hope to make it another 45.
We got flooded out. Our first camping trip was floating on a mattress inside of our tent.
What do you mean you don't eat eggs in the morning? Do you remember that?
Was that it?
I knew there'd be an airplane story.
Well, sure, I mean, I liked airplanes a long time before I liked you.
I suggest, gentlemen, too, that always get the last word in. Yes, dear.
I think through the years, I've let him know that he's the boss, even though he might not be. He thinks he is.
This could be the